Being able to write concise sentences is a skill often needed in writing. One way to do this is to reduce the number of words in a sentence. Noun clauses can be written in a more concise way by following some of these methods explained in this video. Welcome to Writing better sentences, paragraphs, and essays. Before we begin talking about how to reduce a noun clause, let's review what a noun clause is. Let's look at this sentence. My friend said that he would be late. Noun clauses answer the question, what? My friend said what? That he would be late. Noun clauses always have a subject and a verb. You can see the words he would be. Noun clauses can also be questions within a sentence, functioning as an object of the sentence. How can you write an essay? Now, this is a normal question form. I will show you how you can write an essay is using a noun clause form. How you can write an essay is the noun clause. By reducing noun clauses, you can make a sentence more concise. He thinks that he should take the course. The noun clause here is that he should take the course. This could be reduced in this way. He thinks he should take the course. Here's another example. He denied that he cheated on the test. This could be made more concise in this way. He denied cheating on the test. You can see that in both of these sentences, the noun clause begins with the word that, which can often be omitted. That clauses are often the object of the verb in a sentence, as in this example. He thinks that writing is difficult. He thinks what? That writing is difficult. A that clause can also be the subject of a sentence. That he has climbed 100 mountains is amazing. That clauses can also be compliments in a sentence. It's exciting that I can finally write well. In this case, it's an adjective compliment. However, we can only shorten a that clause if it is an object or a complement. We cannot shorten a that clause when it is the subject of the sentence. Let's look at a few verbs that are often used before a that clause when it is used as the object of a sentence. These verbs are often followed by the word that. I know that. I guess that. I hope that. I agree that. These types of noun clauses can be omitted or reduced to help make a sentence more concise. But should you always omit the word that? The answer is no. So when should you omit the word that? You can omit the word that when used in everyday conversation or writing, especially when the subjects are the same. I hope that I can see you next week. In this sentence, you could see that both the subjects of the main sentence and the noun clause are the same. We can omit or leave out the word that in this case. I hope I can see you next week. However, there are a few situations where we do not omit the word that. It is less common to leave out the word that when a noun or a pronoun comes between the main verb and the that clause. I promised my friend that I would meet them at the airport. It would be better to leave the word that in this sentence. It is also common to keep the that clause if there's a long phrase between the main verb and the that clause. The manager believes, for the sake of clarity, that the document should be discussed further and rewritten. When the main verb is in the passive, we usually keep that in the sentence. The customer has been told that replacement parts were not available. It is also better not to omit the word that when there are two that clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. He heard that she is going to university and that she will be studying biology. However, you definitely can omit the word that when there is one that clause that is part of another, as in this example. I know that we decided that it would be better to go by plane, but I think it is too expensive. We do not need to include the words in this type of sentence. I know we decided it would be better to go by plane, but I think it's too expensive. So when we decide that we do want to reduce a that clause, there are a few things that we need to do. We need to change the verb of the that clause to a gerund or an infinitive. Knowing a few verbs that have a gerund form can be helpful. There are some common verbs that always take a gerund after them. For example, they admit looking, they deny seeing, they recommend going. These words always take a gerund after them. There are other verbs that will be followed by a preposition and then a gerund, such as these. They dream about going. They joke about putting. They confess to stealing. And then there are some verbs that are always followed by an infinitive. I decided to eat. They demanded to see. They hoped to make. Knowing these patterns of how to change a verb to a gerund or an infinitive will help you in reducing noun clauses. Let's look at a few examples. Let's look at some examples of when we use a gerund. He suggested that we should order the missing part. This sentence can be reduced or made more concise in this way. He suggested ordering the missing part. Here's another example. He recommended that I should take the medicine. We can change this to he recommended taking the medicine. Here are some examples of when we need to change the verb and add a preposition followed by a gerund. They complained that they did not have water to drink. Here we will take the pattern, complain about, and then add a gerund. They complained about not having water to drink. Here's one more. She dreamed that she would become famous. This can be changed to she dreamed about becoming famous. And let's look at the last set of verbs that are followed by an infinitive. They agreed that they would finish on time. This could be changed in this way. They agreed to finish on time. They expect that they will make a profit. Can be changed to they expect to make a profit. You can see that we can omit the that clauses by following these specific verb rules. Let's try a short quiz. How would you change this sentence? I recommend that you study harder. I recommend studying harder. They claimed that they had discovered the cure to cancer. They claimed to have discovered the cure to cancer. My teacher told me that I should study more grammar. My teacher told me to study more grammar. Here are just a few more. He confessed that he had been careless. He confessed to being careless. He ordered that everyone attend the meeting. He ordered everyone to attend the meeting. Mr. Smith mentioned that he had attended a conference. Mr. Smith mentioned attending a conference. How did you do? Now that you know how to reduce that clauses, let's talk about when we find a noun clause that is a question within a sentence. Any of these question words can be part of a noun clause. Although we can omit the word that in that clauses, we cannot omit question words when reducing a sentence. We must leave the question word in the sentence. We will use an infinitive instead. However, we can only use it when there's the meaning of could or should. Let's look at some examples. I will offer some assistance on how you can write better sentences. You can see the noun clause at the end of the sentence. We can make this more concise in this way. I will offer some assistance on how to write better sentences. We use an infinitive, the words to write. Here's another example. They need to decide when they should start the program. Here is how it might be reduced. They need to decide when to start the program. Remember, we can only use this method when the meaning is could or should. Okay, it's your turn again. How would you change these sentences? Can you tell me how I can write better sentences? Can you tell me how to write better sentences? He was not sure when his friend will be arriving. We cannot reduce this sentence because it does not have the meaning of could or should. We need to decide when we can go to the store. We need to decide when to go to the store. Let's review again the steps to reducing a noun clause. First, remove the clause markers. Then remove the subject of the noun clause. And finally, change the verb phrase to an infinitive or a gerund phrase. When there is an embedded question, you will need to use an infinitive instead, but only when the meaning is could or should. I have another video about reducing adjective clauses, as well as reducing adverb clauses that you might want to check out. And if you need help with writing essays, I also have some printable workbooks that you might find helpful. The link is in the description below. Happy writing!